Streaming different hours from now on. Next week begins 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. Currently, it is 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, coming to you on Thursday. I was not able to make it last night. I apologize for that. I wanted to make it up to you guys and be here today. I know some of you guys come by during the live stream, and I'm always grateful when that happens. And I know that thousands of you watch these replays as well. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you're sharing time with me today. How to build relationships with a secure partner, how to attract a secure partner, in fact, even if you're anxiously attached. Now, I know a lot of you here on this channel are anxiously attached. That's okay. I used to be anxiously attached myself. It's all right. Promise we're going to get through it together. That's why I do what I do now, is because I had to white knuckle it about 20 years ago and get through my anxious attachment too. So I want you to know, number one, you're not broken. And number two, it's not hopeless. And number three, you're not alone. This is not a you problem. And I will show you how to make things work. Everybody glad you're in here? Say hi when you pop in. Rope, good to see you again. Welcome back. Glad I didn't scare you off last time. Drop your questions down in chat, but I'm glad that you're here. How to attract a secure partner. You know, Zantsu, good to see you as well. Secure partners are attracted to the very specific things that repel toxic partners, harmful people. There's a difference between hurt and harm, right? Hurt is you can hurt each other's feelings accidentally and then you make up for it. You don't mean to. It doesn't leave lasting damage. Harm is when someone damages you long term, usually in a way that they don't care about, usually in a way that maybe not malicious, but at the very least, they didn't care. It was reckless. Harm is long-lasting, true injury, and it's never okay to harm somebody. It's not saying it's great to hurt, but hurt can happen. Harm should not happen, and especially not by accident. I'm anxiously attached. Sometimes I think I'm also avoidant. Honey York, it's possible to be both. You might be disorganized style. That's okay too. Welcome to the channel. Bernadette, glad you're here. Rope, you're great, dude. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Isabella, good to have you here. Thank you so much. Miranda, hello from Sweden. Well, hello. This is one reason I wanted to stream earlier in the morning. A lot of my European followers, I guess, have told me that they just cannot make the 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time because that's something like 2 or 3 in the morning for you guys. So totally understood. No problems there. Let's stream a little bit earlier. So starting next week, 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. That's going to be Tuesdays and Wednesdays. 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. It's 3 hours early. I'm looking at my clock. 3 hours earlier than it is right now. No Man's Land. Good to see you again. Been a little while. I get very uncomfortable telling someone we're good friends or best friends. It's like an uncomfortable feeling being close to someone. You know, I had a moment actually earlier this morning where I was talking to someone. I said, you know, I've known you a while now. I want you to know I consider you a friend. Is it a moment of a little bit of, I hate this word, vulnerability? Is it a moment of that? Well, yeah. Yeah, it is. Why do I hate that word? Because it sounds so dirty. Vulnerability sounds like, ugh. Like, why would you do that? It sounds cringe. It sounds like naughty. It sounds pathetic. I would say honest transparency or open transparency. It can feel normal to tell someone that they're a good friend of yours. It is a moment where you put your hand out and you're not sure what they're going to do. It's a little bit like asking someone, will you marry me? Like, hopefully you don't ask that until you know the answer realistically, but it's a moment. Now, I will also say, can you imagine where somebody said, hey, I feel like we are good friends. Do you feel the same? In fact, you don't even have to say that. You can just say, you know what, you mean a lot to me. You've been a good friend, and I want you to know that I consider you a friend. Saying that is enough. It doesn't demand a response. They can say, thank you. That means a lot to me. They might say, I feel the same about you. Sometimes it's better to make that statement. Stockholm, Sweden here. Glad to have you here. Pooping like, hi, Adam, this live stream will be available for me. Yes, it will. It will definitely be available for you later to watch. That's the goal here. Phoenix, glad to see you. How you doing? Good to see you. Securely attached people. We were talking about this a moment ago. Securely attached people are attracted to the very thing that is going to repel the toxic, harmful people from your life. Now, what is that? The biggest thing that I need you to start doing if you're anxiously attached is asking more questions. Most people with attachment issues have been trained not to ask questions. Now, think back. I got 5 kids. My kids will not stop asking questions. And I encourage that. I want them to grow. I want them to be engaged. I want them to feel connected. I want them to be curious about their world. And I do not want to squash that natural curiosity. All children are born with natural curiosity. You were born with natural curiosity. You asked a lot of questions. You were very curious and wanted to learn, and you asked and asked and asked. And somewhere along the line, somebody told you over and over and over, either with their words, with their actions, with the back of their hand, by moving away from you, by again at you. Somebody told you that questions are not welcome. Somebody told you that questions get you punished or make people walk away. Somebody told you that it's bad for you to do the very thing that helps you connect other people. Somebody taught you this. You may not remember it, maybe you do, but somebody trained this out of you. And it's one of the worst things that could be done to you. Because asking more questions is exactly how you bond with securely attached people. It shows that you're curious. It shows that you have a keen mind, that you're asking those deeper questions. You don't have to be brilliant, just wanting to learn. It shows that you have the courage to ask questions in a world that punishes question askers, quite honestly. And it gives them a chance to answer and then to ask you questions too. And if you can answer questions honestly, well, this is the heart of building a transparent, securely attached relationship, is by asking and answering and asking each other again, learning. This is one thing that couples get wrong. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist for many years. Now I coach a lot of couples and executives and individuals and singles, everybody. But when couples come into me and they're fighting, one of the first things I ask is, how often do you make statements at each other versus ask each other questions? And they go, and they laugh at themselves, say, well, I probably don't ask as many questions as I should. Yeah, nobody does. That's one reason you're fighting so much. Show of hands, guys, in the chat, say yes or no. Do you get nervous about asking questions? Does it make you a little uncomfortable to ask a question? Especially maybe like on a first date, asking more personal questions like, hey, what was it that split up your last relationship? Hey, I'm looking for marriage down the line. Not today, don't worry, but down the line, I'm looking for marriage. Is that what you're looking for? Hey, who keeps you accountable in your life? What are you building in your life? What challenges are you working through right now? Asking these a little bit more personal questions. Yes or no, does it make you uncomfortable? Just even a little bit. Let me know in chat. I would love to hear from you guys. Yes or no? Statements versus questions. You got it, Becky. You got it. Can please... hi, my extreme DNA, and I know we love each other. He fuses girlfriend-boyfriend labels. Ugh, we're exclusive. He calls me his significant other. 6 months in. Okay. You need to decide what you're looking for. This is not about him, and he's not the only man in the world, right? You need to decide what it is you are looking for, how much time you're willing to invest, figuring out if somebody wants that, and what you're willing to sacrifice for him personally. What parts of your legacy, your goals, your life, your love, your values that you're willing to give up for him. You need to decide that very quickly. A healthy man wants a woman who has strong goals. She doesn't have to be a career woman, but strong goals in her life, right, that she's looking for, deep principles that she holds, and very direct communication, polite, kind, warm, direct communication around those expectations and desires. Because the right man who matches you is looking for you. And he will only know you by the questions you ask and the boundaries you keep. And the wrong men are pumped when you don't put up boundaries. The wrong men are thrilled when you don't put up boundaries because they can waste your time with a dopamine exchange. Hey, how about we sit here and call each other significant other for the next 20 years until your fertility is gone. And then I will go marry someone who's 25 and have 6 babies with her. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. Aren't you? And that happens to a lot of my clients, unfortunately. So, guys, keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. That's that. So, what I just said there is exactly how you can start attracting securely attached partners. When you have strong boundaries, when you know what you want and you're going for it. Again, you don't have to be mean. Please don't be mean. Be polite, be kind, right? Be friendly and polite, but don't let people waste your time. Because the people you want to be with, the securely attached people, if you're a woman looking for a man to start a family, the man who is looking for a wife to start a family does not want a wife who never talks about marriage, is super accommodating to everybody, has no boundaries, and is just going to kind of go along with the flow with whoever happens into her path. It's not going to be a great wife for him or a mother for his children. right? And guys, I know you're watching this too. The woman that you want, she doesn't want a guy who has no vision. He's just here to try to please her. She doesn't want to be his purpose and his mission, right? That's terrible for most women. They don't want that. The only women who want that are usually the ones with personality disorders, okay? And that's not a woman you probably want to marry either, right? They need to do their thing and do their healing over here. You don't want to marry them right now. Not right now, where they're at, okay? So how do you attract a secure partner? It's by acting secure. It's by undoing the programming that's been done to you that taught you not to ask questions. Undoing those lessons in your brain that say questions are bad. People will be mad at me. People will be annoyed with me. People will throw me away, or they'll walk away from the table. Yes, some of them will. The ones you don't want to talk to will definitely walk away. The ones who will mistreat you and will waste all of your fertile years. The ones who will play that game with you and say, well, maybe we're just not a good match. And then they come back the next week to waste more of your time for another year. And then, well, maybe we're not a good match. And then they leave, and then they come back after a month and waste more of your time. Right? It happens so much. It happens so much, you guys. I don't want this to happen to any of you. So if you're not sure what your attachment style is, you're not sure if maybe you're anxiously attached, maybe you're avoidantly attached. If so, you can fix that too. Maybe you're disorganized, the blend of the two. If you're not sure, I want you to know I have a free attachment styles quiz available on my website, adamlanesmith.com. If you click the description here, it'll take you there, or just go to adamlanesmith.com on a browser, click resources, click attachment assessment up there at the top. It's free. It does ask you to put in your email address at the end so that we can email you the code to get it sent to you. So expect that at the end. It asks you for your email, but a free attachment styles quiz based on my years in the field and all my years in research and psychology and relationships and everything I've been doing. So jump in there, take that style quiz, learn what your attachment style is. I'm gonna grab some questions here, especially from members who support me, so I support you back. Thank you. MBR42, good to see you in here. I'm the go with the flow guy. Last time I tried to take control of my circumstances, a global pandemic happened. I hear you loud and clear. I do. I'm like, ugh, yes. So many people got really rocked to their core by COVID. A lot of people are trying to make a big catch up after that happened. Your community, I know we've talked about this before, MBR, but your community is really going to be crucial for that. The biggest thing COVID did was rob us of our connections with other people and isolate us further so that we lost community, friends, relationships, so many things, either from the political divide and everything that happened, or just from all of us retreating and becoming so isolated. Our hormones and neurotransmitters all got really bad. It's really terrible. We're trying to play catch up right now. You are not alone. I would deeply, deeply, deeply recommend joining more groups. I know you're in one at least, but more groups, more connections, more people, friends are really going to make the difference for you for the rest of your life. Quite honestly, there's a lot of good groups that you can join locally and even some online. I'm going to make sure members asking questions is like bear handing a hot metal billet for me. I hear that. And yet, let me ask you this. Somebody who only ever makes statements at you. Let's go back to that, guys, for a moment, and MBR in particular. Someone who only ever makes statements at you. They just launch statements at you. Is that a great conversation? You're just sitting there, and they're just talking at you. Does that sound fun? Do you enjoy that? Like for an hour? Turn that around. Somebody who's friendly, actually kind, actually interested in you, and they're talking with you like this and asking you questions, smiling. They want to learn about you. Maybe some of the questions are a little personal. It might kind of just tweak you just a little bit, and you're like, ooh, it makes me a little nervous to answer, but I'll play. And you answer, and they're like, wow, okay, and they're really receptive, and they're listening, and they ask another question, and they're actually genuinely curious about you as a person. It's not an act. They're not fake. They're not like, yeah, whatever, okay, well, what next question? They're not interviewing you, like, police spotlight on you. They're actually like talking, and they want to learn about you because they're curious. Guys, drop me in chat. Would that be a good date? Or no? Yes or no? Actually, you know what? 1 to 10. 1 to 10. How much would you enjoy that if somebody was that interested in you? You could ask them questions and they'd answer, but they would return it and ask you questions and be really curious and ask follow-up questions to learn more. 1 to 10, 10 being perfect date, 1 being worst date on the planet. 1 to 10, what score would you guys give that date on a first date if a person was doing that with you? Drop that down in chat and let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Maybe some of you guys think I'm wrong. Maybe you hate the questioning thing. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. Drop that in chat and let me know. But honestly, I'm going to tell you this. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest things you can possibly do is ask more questions on a date. Because most people, what do? They walk into dates and they're like, what are the topics I'm going to talk about that make me look interesting? What intellectual topics can I talk about? How can I be entertaining? How can I compete with Netflix and dopamine for this person? How can I be more interesting than the girls on Instagram? How can I be, and we're going like this, and then we create this artificial conversation to try to encourage the other person. And what are we doing all night long? Being fake, stressing out. 10 in chat, you're saying 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I love that. 9 out of 10. Got it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. How to deal with a man with no mission won't answer my questions. He's got to have a mission. And if he doesn't, he needs to talk to somebody to understand it and grow it. If he doesn't, then you ask him, what are you going to do about that? If you don't know what your purpose in life, what are you doing to build that? No one can live without a purpose in life. So what are you doing to build that? Who's helping you? Who are you going to go learn from? Asking him those questions and nudging him along. And if he refuses, he is stuck in survival mode. Is he going to come out of it? Is he willing to grow out of it, right? You've got to figure that out. Is he willing to grow out of that survival mode? Very, very important. 10 out of 10. Becky, love it. Thank you. See, guys, this is what I mean. It is, everybody in chat is saying how great it is when you ask more questions. 6 for the most part. I'm the one who reveals too much of myself, and I hear that, and I hear that. There is an art to answering questions as well. There's an art to answering questions. What I usually tell people is you want to give about a 2/3 answer. Whatever they recently said, whatever answer they recently gave, give about 2/3 of that answer. Okay, up to 100%, but no less than 50%. 75 to 50, pretty good range, because that means you're not being too, if you give less, you're being too evasive. And if you're going way overboard, you're also not going to be answering. You're going to answer too much, and their eyes are going to glaze over. So 50 to 75. And I will also say this: don't trauma dump. A lot of people dump their sadness and trauma and misery and talk about life as awful as it is. Talk about challenges you are overcoming and how you are overcoming them. Solution focused, challenge focused, growth focused. Well, I am going through this difficulty and here's what I'm doing about it. That's a great way to talk about those pieces. Don't focus in on I have no power, no control, and I hate my life. Okay? 2/3 answer is good to remember. 100% MBR. 2/3 answer is usually the right response. Go just a little bit less than they answered, but do not go less than half, because they're going to say, what is wrong with you? You're evading the answer and you won't answer. Especially if you then throw a question back to them, which you should. You must throw a question back. Remember that conversations are like a friendly game of tennis that you're playing together. And that right there is exactly how conversation should run. Whenever you ask a question, you hit the ball back to the other person. That's exactly how you need to play that game. If you can play the game that way, then you can win. Together, I mean. Both of you should win together and be able to do that. That's how a conversation is supposed to run. That is supposed to run that way, you guys. If you can have that conversation, if you can do that, then you can have a fantastic date with an amazing person. And you can find a securely attached person. Now, I will say this. Why am I emphasizing all these questions? This is why. I'm emphasizing these questions because the most toxic and harmful partners out there who are going to hurt you, waste your time, harm you, they don't like questions. At the very beginning of this conversation, at the very beginning, I said, you were born asking questions, and somebody trained you not to. The people that don't have time for you, the people who are harmful, the people who are hurtful, maybe your parents, maybe not, but the people you don't want to be around hate questions. They hate questions about their red flags. They hate questions about their interests. They hate questions about their mission. HSP, you were talking about that earlier. They hate questions about their mission. They hate being revealed. They hate that you push back. They hate that you're making statements, right? They hate that you are asking and diving in and that you keep wanting to learn. They hate that because it means you won't quietly comply. Remember that A lot of people don't relate to other people, unfortunately, as human beings. A lot of those people who are harmful and toxic, they are actually relating to you more as a movable object. This does not mean they are a full sociopath with antisocial personality disorder, but their brain is headed in that direction, and they are moving you like an object in their environment. And the best way to disrupt that is not to yell and scream and be louder and meaner than they are. Then you're just an explosive object that's on fire. Asking questions. Asking questions restores your humanity and forces them to confront it. And then they have to talk and answer and explain and reason. And then you ask questions about their answers. And a healthy, secure person loves answering these things and clarifying, being known, being accepted, and getting to talk about their passions. They love it. I love it when I sit down and someone's asking me about my passions, my goals, my challenges, my weaknesses, what I'm doing to fix it. I love that. I've nothing to hide. And those people that want to hurt you, use you, waste your time, those people hate questions. This is why they're actually going to punish you during your relationship with them for asking questions. This is why you're afraid to ask questions. Everybody in here, if you're afraid to ask questions, it's because someone came along and trained you to be afraid of asking questions. That is not a normal behavior pattern. Someone taught you to be afraid of questions. Never be afraid of questions. What do I say on all my videos? Drop your questions below. Ask me questions. What do I do in these chats? Well, when I get on a soapbox like this, I love to talk and share with you guys, but what do I do toward the end? Answer questions. And if they're not willing to answer, Adrian, I see you asking, if they're not willing to answer, that is a person who does not want to have a relationship with you as a human being. That's a person who wants you to be a convenient object in their life. They don't want to be known or seen by you. They don't want to relate with you. They don't want to build with you. They don't want to grow with you. They don't want to experience with you. They want you to sit there and fulfill a role for their pleasure when it's convenient. And that is not a relationship. Carrie, glad you're here. First time here. Have you heard of alpha widows? Absolutely. 100%. Yes, I have. I've been in the manosphere for, oh my goodness, 12, 13 years. I've heard a lot. But welcome in here. Glad you're here. Really am. Guys, the way to attract a secure partner is the same way you remove or repel unhealthy, really unhealthy partners. People who are, moderately anxiously attached, moderately or ethically avoidantly attached, people who are quiet, disorganized. When you ask them questions, they might kind of look surprised, but usually they'll answer. And then they'll ask you some questions and they'll go like this and reciprocate. And you can build a more connected relationship anyway. The really hard extremes who are manipulative that you don't want to be around, they will hate your questions. They might insult you for asking questions. And then you really know who you've got on your hands. That's what you've got to do. That's what you've got to do. Carrie, that one's a little off topic, but Rope is asking what alpha widows are. If you would explain, we would love that. Thank you. I'm not going to take a diversion to explain that, but if you want to, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Questions, you guys. If you want to attract a secure partner, questions. The biggest thing you can do. If you are afraid to ask those questions, if you're afraid and uncomfortable, that means you need to do some work on yourself. Maybe you need to repair your own attachment. Maybe you need to, take my attachment bootcamp course or something like that. Work on your attachment and become secure enough to ask questions. One great thing you can do is instead of going in romance, go to your friend and say, hey, I heard this guy on the internet, right? I heard the attachment specialist said asking more questions is great for relationships. Before I jump in and ask you a bunch of questions, would you be comfortable with me asking you more questions in our friendship to get to know you better? Would you like to ask me more questions? Would a more comfortable, open relationship mean something to you, or would you rather not? Ask them. Ask somebody that you trust. Ask one person you trust. See what they say. Don't ask your parents if they're the ones who made you afraid of asking questions. Ask somebody that you actually trust who's a fairly honest, more healthy person. They don't have to be perfect, but somebody who pays attention to you, cares about you in some way. Ask them. Really ask them. He used to be insulting about asking questions. Becky, see what I mean? Now, he's more respectful of my questions after he's desperate and full of cortisol. Of course he is, It's amazing how fast the tables turn when the object turns out to be a crazy hyena with a chainsaw. Right? When you get angry, when you get frustrated, when you push back, when you walk away, when you apply a boundary, all of a sudden, okay, I'm willing to play your game, object. Please don't leave. Just come back and sit where you're supposed to sit. What do I have to do to get you to sit back down? If they're only doing it under duress like that, it's not legit. I'm going to tell you that. I got the 3-week test and the 4-week test that really tells you if somebody's real or not. We've talked about that in previous videos. Maybe we'll talk about it again in the future. But the 3-week test shows that they're fake. The 4-week test proves that they're real. Can they pass those? That's what's important. So there we go. Uh-oh. Dallas. I missed something. What did I miss, Dallas? Together 4.5 years. I was anxious. She's disorganized. Ooh, you know the struggles that would bring? Yes. I've stopped asking for us to work on it together. She's not interested and I love her. She doesn't want to know and grow. I guess we got to sell the house. Ooh. She can't stand you. I hear that a lot from toxic people. That's okay. So I'm guessing you're bang on. Also, thanks for having Stefanos on a while back. Yeah, absolutely. Man, saved my life. 100%. I hear that. Honestly, this is how you weed out if someone wants to work with you or not, is by asking them questions. If they want to answer your questions and be known and build what's called a negotiation-driven relationship where you negotiate back and forth, you have to know each other's needs. You have to talk to each other about desires, about problems, challenges, pain points. You have to talk about those things together. If you can do that, amazing. You can build a relationship. But a relationship where you are not allowed to ask questions, well, we call that a hostage situation. We call that a hostage situation. You know who can't ask questions? Hostages. You comply. You were probably raised in a hostage situation. You were a child with no ability to take care of yourself. You complied with what your parents wanted, and that's what shaped your attachment issues. And now today, you are still complying with those same demands in a world where your hostage takers are not there. No one around you wants to take you hostage, but you're acting like a hostage with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend. You are acting like a hostage with a gun on you, and they're like, what are you doing? And they don't get it. Securely attached people think that you're crazy. They think that you're pretending to be a hostage when you're not. They don't know what you're doing. And when you walk in already being a hostage, then the people who would rob you are like, wow, free money, and they just take your wallet. So that's it. That's what's happening there, you guys. The 3-week test and the 4-week test. Sounds like you guys want me to go through that. Is that a yes? Let me know. A yes in chat if you guys want me to go through the 3-week test, the 4-week test. Drop me a yes or no in chat. Live from the attachment whisperer. Love it. Love it. Guys, remember, as you're dropping yes or no in chat, remember that my new live streaming times is 11 a.m. U.S. Central, 11 a.m. U.S. Central, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's going to be my new live streaming time. I want to give people on their lunch break a chance, people in the middle of the day, people in Europe at the end of the day. I want to give all of you a chance to be able to see me. Yes, okay, so chat, you guys are exploding. That's a massive reaction. Cool, why don't we do this? If you are with somebody and you want them to change, and maybe they've cheated on you. I get that a lot in my coaching practice. Maybe there's a really painful thing they've been doing, a really unkind thing they've been doing. Maybe it's just that you can't handle it anymore and you want something to change and you can't figure out if they're really going to do it, okay? Something happens and a person goes, whoa, I swear, babe, I'm totally different. My life is different. I've had an epiphany. I've had 17 light bulbs. And I'm going to totally change. Everything's going to be better from now on, babe. I swear to you, you're going to be so happy. All right? How many out there, guys, have heard this one before, right? You've heard this song and dance. Now, here's what I apply. When somebody comes in and says, Adam, she swears they're going to change. How do I know? Here's the test. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, they will do one of two things. One, the 3-week tests, okay? Or if they're fake, over the course of 3 weeks, here's what they're going to do. The first week, babe, I'm so different. Oh my gosh. I've ordered 6 books. I listened to a podcast, and I am so pumped about this change. You are going to be so happy. You are going to be so happy. I promise. Thank you for giving me another chance. It's going to be great. I'm so sorry. I swear. I know it's taken me forever. This is really it, though. It's really it. I'm going to read all these books when they come. I swear. Okay? Second week. Oh man, I'm just, all this learning. I read one of those books and I've listened to like 6 podcasts and oh my gosh, it's a lot. Like, but hey, don't get me wrong. I know I need to change. It's my fault. It's totally my fault. But oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. Oh man, but hey, you're totally worth it, babe. Yeah, and you're right. It's my fault. And I'm gonna make you happy. I swear, it's gonna be great. You're gonna be so happy, right? Oh, it's gonna be wonderful. Don't worry about it. Oh man, it's taking a lot of time, right? By the end of the second week, they're like, well, it's a lot. I'm thinking about reading that second book next. I'm just kind of, giving the first one a chance to digest, but totally good, right? Third week. Hey, I'm just, I know I did wrong, and that's cool. I'm not trying to like figure out like when I can stop, but just how long do you think you might be mad? How long do you think like we're going to need to keep doing this? It's a lot. My work schedule's a lot. I work like 45, 50 hours a week. It's just reading all the books and everything. It's a lot. And I want you to be happy. Like, I swear I do. It's just getting a lot. So when do you think that things will be better between us? When do you think we might do it again? Hey, or hey, just, how long? Just so I know what to expect, right? But the first half of the third week, end of the third week, completely back to normal. Yeah, it's a lot, but it was a great thing learning, and I realized that we both have some work that we should probably go do as we go forward. But it was a great thing. And I think that we're in a better place now. Okay. Wrap around. That's the whole cycle. They go right back around to the start place. You guys have heard this before, right? You guys have heard this before. So this is the cycle of somebody who isn't actually changing. They saw you have cortisol, you got upset, and they say, okay, now your cortisol's up, I have to comply enough to bring your cortisol back down, and then we'll be good. Like, whoops, I guess I shouldn't have slept with her in our bed, like, should have done it on the floor, sorry, babe. Hey, I guess you're stressed out, I get it, like, you're kind of mad right now, I'll give us a shot for a couple weeks, and I'll make you happy, and eventually it'll be good again, we'll forget about it, it'll be fine. In their head, this is the program. They don't get what happened, and they don't really want to change. They're trying to play you like a video game. Your cortisol's up. They have to button mash fast enough to bring your cortisol back down. Once they are, oof, good, we're good. And that's the thinking. And they'll do this over and over and over and over and over. And the more they sell it, the more it sounds like a lie. Exactly. Notice how the whole time it's about you. They're doing this for you. And they're tired, and it takes a lot of time, and everything's internal. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to listen to a podcast. I'm going to think in the woods. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to write some poetry. I have a journal. Everything's internal where there's zero accountability whatsoever, and it's all for you. Notice that. 4-week test. Hey, you know what? This has really highlighted something for me. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like it. I don't want to be this person for you, but I really don't want to be this person for myself or for our kids or for me in my life. This is not who I want to be. So even if you don't stay, I got to change. So I've ordered some books. I listened to a podcast. I'm going to sit down with my mentor or my priest or my buddy. I'm going to have a conversation, and I'm going to get this worked out. I appreciate you being patient. Second week. Hey, you know what? I read 2 of those books. I had a really great conversation with my priest. He's got me on track. We're going to be meeting every single week. I had a talk with my best buddy. He slapped me upside the head for doing that and cheating on you, or for looking at all those girls on Instagram, or for texting my ex like that, like I did, like too much, whatever that was. He smacked me upside the head, and now we're going to make sure we keep each other on track. He's keeping me accountable. I'm keeping him accountable for something else. We're accountability people now. It's good. I get why you're upset. I also don't want to be this person. Yeah, you got to tell me how you're upset, you're mad. I totally get that. Cool. I hear you. I also don't want to be this person. Okay? Third week. Man, life is like changed. It's like this has been a bad thing and it's not great, but just, man, like the conversations I'm having with my friends, the conversation I had with my dad last week, I had no idea that he also had this problem. My priest, like our meetings have moved beyond just this to like something better. My friends, like the accountability is great. And I'm watching him grow too. I read 3 more books, and yeah, the podcasts are helpful, but I'm really finding the relationships and the conversations so much better. I'm pumped. Like I know that this hasn't been good, and I'd like to be there for you as well. 4th week. Way beyond this. This is life. Man, I feel good. I didn't imagine I could feel this good 1 month after acting so stupid. I can't even, I look back at what I was thinking and like, why? How foolish was I? Like, I am so happy with the life I have now. So I'm going to scheduling more meetings with my priest. I can't wait to see my dad again. I've never met this guy like this before. Like, we are having conversations you wouldn't believe. Let me tell you about them. Complete life transformation with relationships around them, outside of you, so that they are actually transforming and getting accountability, and you are not the police officer holding them on track. You are the person enjoying the growth with them. They are self-driven and they're enjoying it. It's not about you. It's actually about them becoming the person they wanted to become and using this thing as a catalyst. Yes, there's some internal work, podcasts, books, blah, 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 but there's external work more than that. The internal is driving to external, and it's not just you, it's everybody. Life changed. You guys hear the difference? 3 weeks versus 4 weeks. 3 weeks versus 4 weeks. Do you hear the difference? This is so key. Exactly, Becky. This is key. This is the change. This is what I listen for when people come into me and say, oh, Adam, one of us just had an affair, and I don't know, we're going to try to change. Do you really think that this person's changed? Well, I don't know. Talk to me about the change. Talk to me about what you want to do about it. Talk to me about what you've done so far. Talk to me about how you feel about it. Talk to me about what's going on. Talk to me about who you're talking to. Who's keeping you accountable now? Who you telling? Who have you told so far? So that's the question, you guys. That's the question. All right. You guys wanted to know the 3-week test and the 4-week test. So there you go. Much love, you guys. Much love. All right. Now, what questions do you guys have? People like that exist? Yes, Phoenix, they do. And it's not just perfect, securely attached people. It's people who are wanting to grow, people who have reached a point where they're miserable enough and they want to improve, people who really want to change things, people who are anxiously attached or ethically avoidantly attached, or even people who are disorganized style and have reached a point where they say, this isn't working for me. I don't want to do this anymore. And they make those changes. I see these people all the time, you guys. It's not perfect people who come into my coaching practice. It's people that really want to make a change. It's people that do those things, okay? There are good people. Thank you for explaining both tests. You're very welcome, Phoenix. Adrian, wow, can I change my life like that in a month? Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have no idea how much change you can do in your life. But the problem is that most people spend so much time trying to go inward. What am I thinking and feeling? I'm going to read a book and then sit by a lake and stare at the water. I'm going to write it in my journal. Everything's going to be internal. But guys, what would you look if you saw a cage full of mice? They're all playing and running and laughing, and one mouse pulls off to the side, shoves themselves in a corner, and just sits there shaking for a month. Would you say that's a healthy mouse that's likely to grow? But that's what most people do for self-improvement after something painful. They pull away and shove themselves in a corner and shake for a month, and then they wonder why they don't get better. Most of us were hurt in relationships. We're going to have to heal in relationships. Doesn't mean run out and find a romantic partner right now while you're damaged to then heal with them and become their project. It means heal in the relationships you have around you. House office, good to see you. How about in between? They start making changes, last longer than 4 weeks, but they haven't sustained their external connections. The external connections are everything, house office. The external connections are everything. Otherwise, it turns into you being their mommy. And very few women want to be mommy to their boyfriend or husband. Very few women. Vanishingly few. I sense that's probably not you. I'm trying to change. I'm somewhat kind of fearful of avoiding, learn a lot from you. Totally hear you. Totally hear you. And there are places where people can get stuck. There can be complicating factors. Fearful avoidant will be called loud disorganized here on this channel. People with really severe trauma pieces. Yes, that can complicate that 4-week cycle, but they're still pushing forward. It may go a little slower, but there's still external relationships happening. That's where things are actually serious. Maybe they go to an EMDR therapist to get treatment for the trauma, but that's the place. Make sense? Tiger, I don't know what you've got going on here in chat, but it's not good, buddy. I'm going to put you in timeout for 24 hours, buddy. Not the place. Rope, I get kind of jealous and easy. That feeling makes me want to pull away really hard. I see them as a huge threat, need to get out. What's this all about? Depends why you're getting jealous. Sometimes there is hormonal research that shows that when you get bonded to one person at a time, you become hyperfixated on them. and you feel like they are the one and only person on the planet, and then it feels like they are now going to control you. So then you will get hyper jealous and possessive, and then also want to run away at the same time, and that can be that disorganized style. People with avoidant tendencies, sometimes when they get a feeling of really deep connection, it terrifies them and it makes them want to run. It's called an oxytocin phobic response. That can happen too. I'm constantly scared of getting cheated on. Rope, I hear you. And I'm not going to tell you that people don't cheat. I can't. But if you're constantly petrified of it, that's more of like a phobia trauma response. I'm not saying to not care, but you may want to actually do some trauma work on it. EMDR is one of the best treatments on the planet for trauma. It is non-talk based. It's covered by most insurances. It's therapy. It has an 80 to 90% success rate for diminishing or removing trauma responses and phobic responses. So you might want to give that a shot, Rope. You might want to give that a shot. That might actually really heal a lot of that. Yes, I believe attachment's at the heart of everything, but also sometimes you need to go to an EMDR therapist to resolve trauma responses. And then you come back and work on attachment when that like infected thorn is pulled out of your foot, okay? We can teach you to walk, but first we must remove the infected thorn. Make sense? EMDR is about removing infected thorns. How to get positive affirmations from my avoidant husband? Directly asking for them didn't. Yeah, honey, so you need to build what's called a negotiation-driven relationship. A negotiation-driven relationship is one wherein you say, hey, babe, I know that it means a lot to you when I'm affectionate and connected to you and when I'm paying attention to you. I know that means a lot. It really helps me to reach that place with words of kindness and words of kindness. Usually not just how I look, although that's nice, but words about things I do for you. That's also nice. Words about my character. That's also really nice. I know that maybe while you're going through work mode and everything, you're probably not thinking of that. You're probably not thinking of words of affirmation and a deep affection. You're probably really focused on tasks in front of you. But if you could carve out a little bit of time to just give me a thought once in a while. I don't even care if you set a reminder on your phone, but say something kind to me. It means so much to me. It makes me feel like I'm doing well in our relationship. It makes me feel calm and settled. And as I feel calm and settled, and I feel like you like me, then I am so much more engaged in being able to give you that love and affection that you're looking for. And I think this will do great things for both of us. Can you make some time to do that? And I will also return that love to you. Negotiation-driven conversation. It's driven by capacity. If you do this for me, my capacity for you will increase, and here's what I'd love to offer you. Is that something you're interested in? Can we do this together? Negotiation-driven conversation. I've been working on this with my friend Andre, my business partner, so that we can bring this to people, but it's negotiation-driven communication approaches. This is absolutely vital that you guys deploy this into your relationship. I train the people in this, CEOs, corporate people, business teams. I train them on this model because it's so effective in the workplace, but it's equally effective in the home environment and in marriage, okay? Archeon, glad to have you here. Thank you for your help in the last stream. I didn't know my anxious attachment could cause me to become obsessed with somebody. 100%. Yeah, it's been a problem in the past for me multiple times. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, Archeon. That's exactly it. That's that oxytocin hyperfixation from one person at a time. It's a known thing. If you read the work of Dr. Sue Carter, the world's leading expert on oxytocin and vasopressin bonding, the hormones there, I did a research. I did a whole episode with her here on this channel if you want to go back and watch that interview. Brilliant, astoundingly brilliant woman. But in her work, she clearly demonstrates that oxytocin fixation. Adam saying that to my DA feels exhausting, like it would be used to call me needy. If that's the case, Dallas, then why are you in that relationship? And I don't mean that to mock you. I mean that to actually ask you that question. You don't have to answer it to me right now. You probably can't. Sit and ask, why am I in this relationship with somebody who mocks me, has no interest in mutual satisfaction, wants to use me for their own benefit, and has no desire for my own well-being? Why am I with this person? That's the question. Don't answer it now. You probably can't. No answer you can give right now is going to be the right one. Really sit and reflect on that. Maybe you need to talk it through with somebody, but very crucial. Okay, you guys, that's it for me. I'm going to be back next week, 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time on Tuesday. 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time on Tuesday. Do not miss it. I will be here. In the meantime, make sure you go to my website, adamlanesmith.com, take the free attachment styles quiz. You go under resources, you go under attachment assessment, boom, there it is. It will ask you at the end to put in your email so it can send you a code to then get access to your report, but go in there and do it, okay? adamlanesmith.com. resources, attachment assessment. Learn your style and get some initial steps to fixing it. Guys, I will see you next week. Take care of yourselves.